Your life is every rank of drug dealer. You're about to discover something most people will never experience, not because they don't want to, but because they'll never make it past the first level. This is your life as every rank of drug dealer, and trust me, not all levels are created equal. Let's start at the absolute bottom, where 99% of people in this game begin. You are a street-level hustler. You're 19 years old, living in an apartment that smells like ramen and regret. Your entire operation fits in a backpack. You wake up at noon, not because you're lazy, but because that's when foot traffic picks up on your corner. You've got maybe $500 in your pocket, your startup capital that you borrowed from someone you really shouldn't owe money to. Your customers are the worst kind of customers. They're unpredictable. They show up at random times. They try to negotiate prices. They ask a million questions. They want to know where you got it, how pure it is, when you'll have more. You're making $50 per hour on a good day, which sounds okay until you realize you're working 16 hours. That's $800 before you have to give half of it to your supplier. You're making minimum wage in the most dangerous job in the country. But here's what keeps you going: pride. You think you're untouchable. You think the cops don't know your face yet. You think the rival dealers aren't watching. You're wrong on all three counts, but you don't know it yet. Most street-level dealers have a lifespan of about 3 years before they either get arrested, shot, or quit. You've been doing this for 6 months and you still think you're a genius. You're not. You're just lucky. Now let's jump to level 2. You've been promoted. Congratulations. You're now a mid-level street dealer, and this is where things change significantly. You've been hustling for 2 years. You've survived your first arrest, which was dropped because of a technicality. You've survived 2 shooting incidents. You've learned how to move product more efficiently. You've built a customer base of about 30 regulars who call you directly instead of showing up at your corner. Your daily routine is completely different now. You wake up at a predetermined time because you've got scheduled appointments with customers. You're not standing on corners anymore. That's for amateurs. You operate out of a car, maybe a nice one because you're making real money now. We're talking $2,000 a week. After you pay your supplier, you're clearing $1,000 in profit. For someone without a high school diploma, that's astronomical. But something dangerous has happened. You've become comfortable. You think you've figured out the game. You've started taking bigger risks because you've gotten away with small ones. You're expanding into new neighborhoods. You're recruiting friends as dealers under you. You're starting to build a small organization, and that's when the game changes completely. Because now you're not just risking yourself, you're risking other people, and that makes you a target for law enforcement in a completely different way. You also have a new problem. Success is attracting the wrong kind of attention. The dealer 3 blocks over, who's been doing this for 15 years, is watching you take his customers. The gang in the next neighborhood is wondering if you're encroaching on their territory. Your supplier is starting to trust you enough to give you larger quantities on credit, which means if something goes wrong, you owe a lot more than just money. Let's skip ahead to level 3. You are now a neighborhood distributor. You've been in the game for 5 years, and you've done something most people don't do. You've survived and expanded. You're not making thousands of dollars a week anymore. You're making thousands of dollars a day. Your operation is sophisticated. You have multiple dealers working under you. You have a warehouse. Well, it's technically an apartment, but you've got serious inventory there. You're not dealing in grams anymore. You're dealing in ounces and pounds. Your customer base isn't individuals anymore. Your customers are other dealers. You're a wholesaler. You're sitting at the intersection between the street and the organized distributors, and that position is incredibly lucrative, but incredibly dangerous. Law enforcement has been watching you for months. They know where you live. They know where your warehouse is. They've been building a case against you, and you don't even know it yet. But from your perspective, life is good. You're making $50,000 a month in profit. You've got a nice car. You've got an apartment in a better neighborhood. You've even got a girlfriend who doesn't know where your money comes from, or at least she's pretending not to know. You have respect in your neighborhood. People know your name. People are afraid of you. For someone who grew up with nothing, that's intoxicating. Here's the dangerous part. You've started to think this is sustainable. You've made it this far, so obviously you're smarter than everyone else who got caught. You're not. You're just lucky, and luck doesn't last forever in this business. Now we jump to level 4. You are a regional distributor. This is where the game becomes truly corporate. You oversee multiple neighborhoods. You have dozens of people working for you. Your organization has a structure. It has different departments. You have people who handle logistics. You have people who handle disputes. You have people who handle law enforcement problems. You are not a drug dealer anymore. You're a CEO of a criminal enterprise. Your life looks normal from the outside. You own a legitimate business as a front. Maybe it's a nightclub. Maybe it's a restaurant. Maybe it's a car wash. You're laundering money through these businesses. You're paying taxes on money you're claiming earned through legitimate means. You have accountants. You have lawyers. The lawyers are legitimate, but they're on retainer for your criminal organization. You're making millions of dollars a year. Actual millions, not thousands, millions. You're moving through different cities. You're dealing with bigger suppliers. You're handling wholesale quantities that would destroy a neighborhood-level distributor. You've got connections with organized crime, either through your own ethnicity or through business relationships you've developed. But here's what's different about this level. You've graduated from being just another criminal to being an actual crime boss. You have people who look to you for decisions. You have rivals who want you dead. You have law enforcement agencies who have task forces dedicated to taking you down. The DEA knows your name. The FBI knows your name. You are officially on the radar of every federal law enforcement agency in the country. Your daily life involves constant decision-making about life and death. You hear that one of your dealers got arrested. You have to decide whether to pay for his lawyer or whether to assume he's going to snitch and start taking precautions. You hear that a rival organization is moving into your territory. You have to decide whether to negotiate, use violence, or retreat. You get a call that law enforcement is surveilling one of your warehouses. You have to decide whether to evacuate the product or move forward with operations, because backing down shows weakness. The paranoia is constant. Every text message could be a setup. Every new person in your organization could be an informant. Every business deal could be the thing that finally brings you down. You've probably survived at least 2 assassination attempts that you didn't even know were assassination attempts. Let's jump to level 5. You are now a major trafficker. This is the level where you're no longer dealing with regional territory. You're dealing with interstate commerce. You're moving products between multiple states. You're managing a supply chain that involves multiple countries. You're operating at such a high level that street-level dealers don't even know your name. The people who work for you don't know your real address. You've achieved a level of insulation that protects you from most risk, but it also means you're one step removed from any control. You're a millionaire, multiple times over. You own real estate in different states. You own legitimate businesses in multiple cities. You have vehicles registered in other people's names. You have bank accounts in other names. You've essentially created an entire fake life to hide your real one. But something's different at this level. You've stopped being a drug dealer. You're now a criminal businessman. You manage money. You make investments. You decide which products to move based on profit margins, not based on what's popular on the street. You've got suppliers in Mexico, Colombia, and China. You've got distributors from New York to California. You have employees in at least 10 different states. Law enforcement is investigating you. Multiple agencies, federal task forces. They have wiretaps on your phone. They have surveillance teams following you. They have confidential informants trying to work their way into your organization. You've probably had your home raided twice. Once you knew about, once you didn't because they got a warrant for information, not arrests. The money is almost boring at this point. You're making it so fast that you can't even spend it all. You literally have more cash than you know what to do with. You're hiding money in walls. You're burying it. You're giving it to people you trust to invest it. Most of those people are stealing from you, but you don't even care because you're making more money than you could possibly spend. Your biggest problem isn't making money anymore. It's not getting caught. It's managing an organization so large that you can't possibly know everything that's happening in it. One of your distributors might be skimming. One of your suppliers might be working with law enforcement. One of your employees might be planning to rob one of your operations. Now let's jump to the final level. You are a kingpin. You're operating at the highest level of the drug trade in North America. You're not dealing with individual transactions anymore. You're dealing with shipments measured in tons. You're working with cartels. You're working with international criminal organizations. You're moving so much product that entire neighborhoods are flooded with your drugs. Your life is almost surreal at this point. You own a sprawling compound somewhere. Could be Mexico, could be a Caribbean island, could be a legitimate estate somewhere in the United States that you own through shell corporations and money laundering operations so complex that even you probably couldn't explain them. You don't wear the same clothes twice. Your jewelry is worth more than most people's houses. Your cars are parked in different cities. You travel under assumed names. You have multiple passports. You have multiple identities. You are, for all practical purposes, a ghost. But here's the thing about being a kingpin. You've also become incredibly visible to law enforcement. Every major investigation in your region is probably connected to you in some way. The DEA has entire departments dedicated to taking you down. The FBI is involved. Homeland Security is involved. Federal prosecutors are building RICO cases against you. You have a target on your back from rival organizations who want to kill you and take over your operation. You've probably been arrested at some point. You've probably served time in federal prison. You've probably survived multiple assassination attempts. You've probably made decisions that resulted in the deaths of dozens of people. You've probably ordered the murder of someone who got too close to exposing your operation. But you're also insanely wealthy. We're talking about billions of dollars. Your estimated net worth is in the billions. You have legitimate business interests that throw off hundreds of millions of dollars in value. You have real estate empires. You have investments in industries that have nothing to do with drugs. You've essentially built a legitimate business empire on top of your criminal empire. The paranoia is absolute. Every person around you is potentially a threat. Your family is a threat because they could be kidnapped. Your closest advisors are threats because they know enough to bring you down. Your security detail might include federal informants. Your lawyers are literally your lifeline, and you pay them millions of dollars every year. Here's what's interesting about kingpins. Most of them eventually get caught. The average lifespan of a kingpin at the highest level is probably 15 to 20 years before federal law enforcement finally builds a case strong enough to take them down. Some get killed before that happens. Some manage to actually retire and disappear, but that's rare. When kingpins do get caught, they often face sentences of life in prison with no possibility of parole. They face RICO charges that allow law enforcement to seize all of their assets. They watch their empire get dismantled. They watch their family get dragged into criminal investigations. The money doesn't matter anymore because they can't spend it in prison. The power doesn't matter anymore because they have no power. But here's the dark truth that ties all these levels together. If you're a street-level dealer making $300 a week, your life expectancy in the game is 3 years. If you're a neighborhood distributor making $50,000 a month, your life expectancy is maybe 5 to 10 years before you get arrested or killed. If you're a regional distributor making hundreds of thousands, you're probably looking at a 15 to 20-year run if you're lucky. The higher you go, the longer you last, but the further you fall. The kingpins who get caught face sentences that last longer than most people live. They've built something so big, so criminal, so interconnected that law enforcement can charge them with dozens of crimes, and each charge could put them away for decades. The other pattern you notice across all levels is that the money gets less important the higher you go. At the street level, people are selling drugs because they need money for rent and food. At the kingpin level, people are selling drugs because it's power. It's the only way they know how to be important. It's the only way they know how to have control over their lives. But here's the thing that nobody tells you. Almost nobody plans to become a kingpin. Almost nobody grows up dreaming of running a drug empire. They start because they need money. They continue because they're good at it or lucky at it. They advance because they take bigger risks. But most people at every level would quit if they could. They're trapped by debt, by violence, by the power of the organization they've created. The highest level kingpins often have no way out. If they try to leave, their own organization kills them. If they get caught, they face the rest of their life in prison. Their wealth becomes a burden because it makes them a target. Their power becomes a prison because so many people depend on them. This is the reality of the drug trade. It's not glamorous. It's not a path to success. It's a path that starts with quick money and ends with either an early grave or a lifetime in federal prison. The only winners in this game are the ones who quit at the bottom level and use whatever money they made to start a legitimate life. But most people don't do that. Most people keep climbing. Most people end up destroyed by the very system they built. That's your life as every rank of drug dealer. Thanks for watching.